This story just took a devastating turn. Tom Keesee, son of prosperity preachers Gary and Drenda Keesee, has now been indicted on 27 counts of young one's SA, including 11 counts of first-degree rape involving victims as young as 5 years old. The allegations are far more extensive and horrific than initially reported. Today, I'm breaking down the shocking new details revealed in the grand jury indictment, what these charges actually mean, and the serious questions that Faith Life Church leadership must now answer. This isn't just about one family anymore, it's about a system that may have enabled decades of abuse. Welcome back, Anointed Ones. I need to provide an urgent update on the Tom Keesee case that we previously discussed. What was initially reported as 2 rape charges has now exploded into a much larger case with multiple victims and dozens of charges spanning years of alleged SA. As we review these disturbing new details, I ask you to remember that these allegations involve young ones, and we need to approach this with appropriate gravity. On Monday morning, a Knox County grand jury handed down an indictment against Gary Thomas Keesee Jr. with a total of 27 counts related to SA. This includes 11 charges of first-degree rape, 11 counts of intimate imposition, third-degree felonies, and 5 counts of unlawful intimate conduct with a minor, fourth-degree felonies. According to court documents and the criminal complaint, investigators have identified 3 separate victims. The allegations are extremely disturbing. The first victim reported being abused when she was just 5 and 6 years old at a residence on Sharp Road in Mount Vernon. The criminal complaint states the abused occurred over 50 occasions in various places around the home and in a motor vehicle. A second victim reported that Keesee began touching her intimate areas when she was 8 years old, with the abused continuing until she was 15, allegedly occurring nearly 100 times over the years. A third victim reported being inappropriately touched between the ages of 10 and 11, including an incident where Keesee allegedly put his hand in her bathing suit while they rode on a dirt bike together. These are not isolated incidents, but appear to represent a pattern of alleged predatory behavior spanning many years and involving multiple young ones. It's important to understand the legal framework here. In Ohio, rape is a first-degree felony carrying potential sentences of 3 to 11 years per count. However, when victims are under 13 years old, as alleged in some of these cases, the penalties can be much more severe, potentially including life imprisonment. Also significant is that Ohio law has no statute of limitations for SA offenses involving children under 16. This explains why allegations from nearly 2 decades ago can still be prosecuted today. Keesee is scheduled for arraignment in Knox County Common Pleas Court on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Interestingly, Licking County Prosecutor Jenny Wells has been appointed as special counsel in this case because Knox County Prosecutor Chip McConville cited a conflict of interest. He represents the Knox County Board of Commissioners, and Drenda Keesee, Tom's mother, is a Knox County Commissioner. Let's talk about the Faith Life Church connection. Tom Keesee resigned as the church's chief media officer in August 2024, approximately 8 months before these charges became public. This timing raises serious questions about what church leadership knew and when. In the initial statements that we analyzed previously, both the church board and the Keesee family emphasized that the allegations were from approximately 2 decades ago and in no way involved Faith Life Church. However, with multiple victims allegedly abused over many years, and with Tom serving in church leadership until just last year, these categorical denials warrant further scrutiny. If the abused continued through some victims' teenage years, as alleged, this would have been more recent than 2 decades ago. And while the church as an institution may not be directly implicated, the fact that a high-ranking church official is now charged with these crimes certainly impacts the church community. The church's statement claimed they responded in accordance with the information available to us then. This raises the question, what information did they have, when did they have it, and what exactly was their response? Did Tom's resignation in August 2024 have any connection to these allegations? This case now takes on even greater significance because of Drenda Keesee's position as a Knox County Commissioner. Public officials are held to high standards of transparency and accountability, and questions about what she knew about these allegations and when are inevitable. This must be a profoundly difficult time for the Faith Life Church community. The Keesees have built their ministry on teachings about prosperity, faith, and family values. These allegations represent a fundamental challenge to that message. More importantly, if these allegations are proven true, they represent a profound betrayal of trust, not just of church members, but of the most vulnerable among us, young ones. It's worth noting that ABUSE often flourishes in environments where there are significant power imbalances and where questioning authority is discouraged. Many prosperity gospel teachings emphasize submission to spiritual authority and can create environments where leaders become insulated from criticism or accountability. In light of these new details, the initial statements from Faith Life Church and the Keesees appear increasingly inadequate. Their emphasis on the allegations being from 2 decades ago seems potentially misleading if abuse continued for years across multiple victims. Their statements also focused heavily on the church's innocence rather than expressing concern for potential victims. Neither statement mentioned any plans to review child protection policies or to create safe channels for others to come forward if needed. Most concerning is that there was no indication that the church leadership planned any internal investigation to determine whether there might be other victims or whether any church policies or practices might have enabled or concealed ABUSED. The statement's quick pivot to Easter celebrations and the Great Exchange now seem particularly tone-deaf given the severity and extent of the allegations that have now come to light. As this case moves forward, several key questions remain. Did Faith Life Church leadership have any knowledge of these allegations before Tom Keesee's resignation in August 2024? If they did know, what actions did they take beyond accepting his resignation? Were any of the alleged victims connected to the church community? Will the church now commit to an independent investigation to ensure there are no other victims and that all church policies protect young ones appropriately? How will Gary and Drenda Keesee navigate their roles as both parents of the accused and spiritual leaders with responsibility to their congregation? These questions are not about condemning anyone prematurely, but about ensuring accountability, transparency, and above all, the protection of young ones. Any organization that works with families and children must have robust safeguards in place to prevent ABUSED and clear protocols for responding if allegations arise. Anointed ones, this is a deeply troubling case that reminds us why accountability in ministry is non-negotiable. If you attend Faith Life Church or know someone who does, I encourage you to advocate for transparency and proper young ones protection policies. If you've been affected by this situation or have information that might be relevant to the investigation, please contact the appropriate authorities directly. As more information becomes available, I'll continue to provide updates with the context and analysis you need. If this video has helped you understand this difficult situation better, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from this information. And remember, true anointing isn't about prosperity or power. It's about truth, justice, and protecting the vulnerable. Until next time, this is Anointed TV, standing for accountability in ministry.